Ask ChatGPT anything and it answers in seconds. Flawless, confident, like magic, but it isn't magic. Behind that answer is a person you will never see. Maybe a graduate with a PhD who can't find any other job. Maybe someone in Nairobi who spent their shift reading the most disturbing things on the internet and for about $1 an hour, and so that you'd never have to. This is the hidden human layer that actually runs your AI, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the part that tech companies don't put in the keynote. Artificial intelligence is not artificial. It is one of the most human products ever built. Every model you use, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, is only as good as the human judgment poured into it. Millions of hours of it. From people who are mostly invisible, often underpaid, and sometimes left traumatized. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly who they are, what they actually do, and why it changes how you should think about every smart answer you've ever gotten. Start with a simple question. How does an AI know things? It doesn't the way you do. A language model is a giant pattern matcher. It learns by being shown examples of good answers and bad answers, and a human decides which is which. That process has a name: reinforcement learning from human feedback. Strip out the jargon and it's this: a person writes a question, the AI gives a few answers, and a human ranks them best to worst. Do that millions of times and the model learns to imitate human preference. So when ChatGPT sounds wise or careful or kind, that personality isn't the machine's. It's the average judgment of thousands of people you'll never meet, baked in. Every refusal, every polite tone, every "I can't help with that," a human taught it that. You're not talking to a brain, you're talking to a crowd compressed into software. And that crowd is enormous. To feed the models, an entire industry appeared almost overnight. Companies whose whole job is to supply human judgment to AI labs. The four biggest each pull in roughly $1 billion a year. One, Scale AI, has claimed access to more than 700,000 workers. Another, Mercor, says it has tens of thousands of active professionals on tap. You've probably never heard of them, but they are the supply chain behind the magic. At first, this work was sent where labor was cheapest. In 2021, OpenAI needed to make ChatGPT safe to stop it repeating the horrors of the open internet. So it hired a firm called Sama, and the work landed with data labelers in Kenya. Their job was to read the worst material imaginable: graphic abuse, violence, self-harm, and tag it so the AI could learn to refuse it. Take-home pay was between about $1.30 and $2 an hour. Workers described lasting trauma. The contract was cut short. The calm, safe assistant you talk to today was built in part on somebody else's nightmares. For a while, this stayed offshore and out of sight. That's changing. As the labs chase the next leap, models that don't just sound like a smart student but like a genuine expert, they need expert judgment to train on. So they started recruiting where there's a sudden surplus of cheap expertise: graduates in the United States. Right now, new graduates face one of the worst job markets in years, and AI trainer and data annotation are among the fastest growing jobs in the country. Sit with the irony of that. The same technology being used to justify layoffs is quietly hiring the people it displaced to train the very system replacing them. People with master's degrees and PhDs, grading AI homework by the hour, often anonymous because they're afraid the companies will cut them off if they talk. Some are interviewed for the job not by a recruiter, but by an AI. They are teaching their replacement, and the replacement is teaching them. And the conditions are brutal in a way that doesn't match the trillion-dollar industry on top. In one study of data workers across the US, 86% said they struggled to meet their basic financial responsibilities. 1 in 4 relied on public assistance, food stamps, Medicaid. More than 1 in 5 had experienced homelessness. The reported median pay, under $23,000 a year. Meanwhile, the founders sitting at the top of this pipeline have become some of the youngest billionaires on Earth. The work itself is precarious by design. A contract paying $55 an hour gets cut to $45, then $35, then vanishes mid-task with a single group message. Workers race the clock to bank hours before a project disappears overnight, and some of it is still the dark stuff. One worker was handed a project, codenamed only with a single word, that turned out to be reviewing violent AI-generated videos. Content so disturbing it gave him nightmares for weeks. The same trauma that started in Nairobi, now landing in Oregon. Back in 2019, 2 researchers gave this phenomenon a name: ghost work. Their warning was that data labeling might be the start of something much bigger, turning all knowledge work into gig work, the way Uber did to driving. The vision from Silicon Valley is almost stated openly, a future where intelligence is a utility, like electricity or water, sold to you on a meter. To get there, you take every job that involves thinking, chop it into tiny tasks, and hand those tasks to whoever will do them cheapest, a growing underclass that could eventually include most of us. But here's the most important thing in this entire story, and it's easy to miss. None of this is inevitable. Economists who study automation are blunt about it. We are choosing to point AI at replacing people instead of helping them. The same technology that's being used to gut jobs could just as easily make them better. AI that helps a teacher give every kid individual attention, or helps a nurse diagnose faster. That version is entirely possible. It's just not the one being built right now because replacing humans is more profitable than helping them. So why should you care if you're just someone who uses ChatGPT to write emails? 3 reasons. First, quality. Every answer you trust was shaped by human judgment you can't see, which means its blind spots, biases, and gaps are human too. Second, honesty. The "it's just an algorithm" story lets companies dodge responsibility for how the thing was actually made. And third, it's a preview. The way these workers are being treated, sliced into gig tasks, squeezed, made invisible, is the template being drawn up for a lot more of us. The good news is that invisibility is the whole trick. And it only works until you look. Workers are already organizing. Lawmakers are moving. California has a bill that would stop the state buying AI built on exploited labor. Transparency about who trains these systems and how they're paid is starting to become a demand instead of an afterthought. That's really what this channel is about. Don't just believe the magic. Understand how it's made, because the moment you can see the humans behind the curtain, artificial intelligence stops being a god in a box and starts being a choice we're all allowed to have an opinion on. If this changed how you see that little chat box, you're exactly who this channel is for. We pull back the curtain on AI, the parts the keynotes skip. Subscribe and you won't miss the next AI file. Next up, I dug into whether the AI boom is actually a bubble about to pop. It's on screen now, go watch it. And tell me in the comments, now that you know there's a person behind every answer, does it change how you feel about using it? Comment the word human and I'll know you made it to the end.